I've covered or touched upon this topic before, but it's just so important, and I really don't believe there's enough videos can be made on this. And one of the most inspirational books that revolutionized my relationship with money is Your Money or Your Life. That book really, it offers investment advice, which I don't necessarily agree with, but just the simple concept of money is not money as we think of it. Paper, money is the root of all evil, and all these things that we say really misses the target. What money is your life energy. Pure and simple. You exchange money for your life energy. Hours, hard work, blood, sweat, tears, job stress, um, loss of opportunity of doing other things that you might enjoy. So money is such an important spiritual tool that once we learn how to manage money, it relieves a lot of the stress, tension, and pressure that we put upon ourselves. That if we get our relationship right with money, we can now focus on spirit, whatever you want to call it, spiritual growth, personal growth, or just freedom, personal freedom, and moving our lives in the direction that we want. And it's funny, the things that are most effective were not taught in school. We're not taught how to properly manage money, a good relationship with money, what money really is. And again, there's a lot of effective manipulative control mechanisms that people use in order to help us part with our money easier. One of them is the common phrase, "Oh, don't be cheap. Oh, you're so cheap. I can't believe it. Spend a little. You can't take it with you. Um, I hear people that spend money. I want to enjoy life," as they equate enjoying life with spending money, which reveals a lot about where they're at spiritually. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy life. You don't have to. Yes, in spending money and enjoying life, there is a correlation. There can be a correlation, but it's what is your relationship with money? Is it a dependency? So if all the money was taken away, would you suddenly not enjoy life? No. A person that is walking along this has a journey and a focus on a spiritual path. Money is just the cherry on top. Now, when you go out, and so from now on, I don't want you to think about spending. Oh, I go out and I spend $10 for this or $20 for that, or $100 or 30, whatever. Don't think of it. Shift it. Calculate what your true hourly wage is. Even if you're self-employed, you can calculate, how many hours you put in a work week or a work month, and what your intake is, and then calculate what your hourly salary is. And a lot of people will be really surprised at how little they make. So some people might say, "Oh, I make $15, $20 an hour." That's really not your true wage. When you deduct your travel time, when you deduct the gas, when you deduct extra food expenditures you might have above and beyond if you were to eat at home, when do you expend or when do you account for even things like extra stress, whatever, is taking that aside, but you account for taxes and all these things. Maybe you might take some work home with you. Really get a true, accurate picture of how much you make an hour. Then, so if it's $20 an hour, it's probably closer to, after taxes, maybe $12 an hour that we might make at travel time and all the extra expenses that we have. So if we make $12 an hour, let's just round it down. Let's say it's $10 an hour. When you go out and buy something, you go out to dinner with your friends, you're thinking about buying a car, you're thinking about buying a house. You're not going to be able to buy a house with $10 an hour. Or your, whatever it is, whatever expenditure. Think about, okay, is this worth, if it's $10, is this worth 1 hour of my life? If it's $100? Is this worth 10 hours of my life? And so now you're getting a true picture of what money is. It's an exchange of life energy. And I was reading an article about a guy in Moab, Utah, who lives without money, which is really a misnomer. He's just found a way to exchange his life energy without the need of the physical paper money. He exchanges his life energy by foraging for food, or by scrounging in dumpsters, or by doing odd jobs for people for food. It's just there's no physical transaction of money, but it's a life energy exchange that's being done. And so it's all, money's not evil. It's not as we've been portrayed. It's life energy. And as we're human animals, it's human nature to seek to have abundance of money as a security mechanism, safety, comfort. It provides food, shelter, all these things. And then people go above and beyond because they feel it will somehow complete them, make them feel worthwhile, and satisfy their ego. So I'm not talking about going to that extreme. If you're watching this video, you're probably not at that place anyways. So and really working these things out on paper is so crucial. So when I'm thinking about buying something that involves monthly expenses, first thing I think is, how can I live without this? Are there alternatives? Can I go to the library and use internet access? Well, maybe I can't. Maybe I need internet access regularly. Can I rent a car? Can I ride a bicycle? Can I carpool? And there's a lot of really great options, and people might say, well, it's a lot of extra work and it's not really worth it. But then once you calculate it, well, I'd be saving 25 work hours of my life every month. Well, maybe it is worth it. And it's being proactive and finding solutions. And once you take that path of being conscious of what money is, how it's spent, and really I think it's important to document where every cent goes. And now with the iPhones and portable applications, it's really easy to do, to document. And it's not to say to deprive yourself, but it's to find what gets the most bang for the buck. For me, having an iPhone, I use it all the time, and it's a great bang for the buck. And for other people, it might not be. Other people going out to fancy dinners might be a great bang for the buck for me. So it's a value judgment, what's important to you. But taking the 80-20 principle, finding those 20% of the money we spend brings 80% of the value. 80% of the money we spend only brings 20% reward or value. And once you start documenting on this paper, and it might, the statistics might fluctuate a little bit, but when you document it on paper, you start seeing, wow, yeah, that really, all these expenses here, I didn't really get a high return for my life energy expenditure. And once you start documenting it, things written down really bring a lot of clarity, because we're really blind to our own shortcomings, and we're blind to where the money goes. And if you're doing this congruently, being conscious about money, and you're having a personal growth, spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it, is what you find is you start becoming less dependent on spending your life energy. It becomes less necessary to fulfill you, to make you feel content, happy, whole. You get less satisfaction in things that are simple, sitting in the park, tossing a frisbee around, going for hikes, picnics. I mean, the list can go on. But finding just the simplicity in life and the little things that bring so much contentment. You're not trying to fill the boredom gap or the ego, the hungry line of the ego that gets its identification and validity and entertainment and source of fun through spending your life energy needlessly. So be very conservative with your life energy. It's the most important lesson. Thanks for listening.